I might have spoiled the best part, maybe. This is Rockbridge State Nature Preserve, which I hiked on April 2nd, 2022. This is in the Columbus Hikes book, where it is rated as a moderate trail in terms of difficulty. So this preserve was established in 1978 because the family that still lives nearby, they sold the land to the state. And look at this dude's name, Zora Crawford. What a name, huh? So even though it's technically spring and there was even a warning sign about not picking the orchids, I didn't see any. Trees still look like skeletons, right? Which is cool. It's like I like how trees look in winter, but I'm ready for some green, TBH. I did like this thing that I saw on the paper birch trees. There's like a little grove of paper birch trees, and I made this really astute and insightful observation. So enjoy me trying to pronounce a word that I had never said out loud.
This is a great example of Pareidolia. I'm not gonna. Pareidolia. Let's see if that's the correct way to pronounce it.
Pareidolia.
But anyway, like, at least from afar, like, it's like the illusion is lost the further you zoom in, but at least, like, at this distance, right, it looks like an eye in the tree. No wonder ancient cultures thought that trees were magic. I mean, it looks like they have fucking eyes growing out of them.
And that was about it for the flora in terms of interesting things. I'm gonna give it a B-. So the only animals I actually saw were squirrels, which is, not tremendously exciting or anything. But I did hear a lot of birds, especially in the first part of the trail. And I want to introduce a new feature to these hiking videos, the bird call of the hike. And for this hike, it's going to be a pretty common one, but let's hear it. So that was the call of the male red-winged blackbird. Actually a pretty common bird, but I do like their song. Their early and tumbling song are happy indications of the return of spring. That's very nice, huh? But just because there just wasn't much of it, I'm gonna give fauna a C+. The trail itself was well maintained, not a whole lot of mud or anything like that. The signs were easy to follow, and parts of it, did provide
Just the slightest element of danger.
There was this little loop that I thought was just, kind of unnecessary.
So I'm not sure how I feel about this little loop that they added onto the trail. Like, it leads you, it's like I took the high road because I always take the high road. It just leads you up a hill, then back down again. Like, I don't know if they just added this to like add more distance to the trail. It doesn't like take you to a great view or anything like that. So just a thing. I appreciate the exercise though.
So the trail is technically a double loop, but just by the way it starts and ends, you have to do this long straight shot where it's kind of like an out and back. And on the way back, I did a hyperlapse. So I think it's time that I put the thing down and then flip it. And then reverse it. The trail gets a B. So obviously, the coolest thing about the preserve are its geologic features, including the thing that gives the preserve its name, the Rockbridge, which is actually the biggest one in Ohio. Formed over millions of years, has a waterfall. I love waterfalls, so. So, just because I'm basic, there's a strong possibility that I will do that Stone Roses bit pretty much every park that I go to that has a waterfall. So, be prepared for that. There's also a rock house that you can visit. It's pretty neat too. It has a waterfall. It's not quite as impressive as the Rock Bridge, but still cool. So definitely check that out as well. So the creeks that made the Rock Bridge and the Rock House, where do they flow to?
So you obviously can't see it from this angle, but this is the creek that created the natural bridge, and it flows right into the Hocking River, one of the lesser rivers in the area, but still nice. I like rivers a lot.
So the landscape, obviously the best part of the entire hike, gets an A plus. So in terms of the immersion, like it's far away from any highways or anything. Aside from that beginning stretch where you're right by farmland, like you're pretty deep in the woods. I didn't really like the people carving shit into the birch trees, right? And people just write the most boring shit.
It's like I wish people would write something more more interesting. That's pretty funny.
It wasn't super crowded or anything the day that I went, but I'm sure if it is crowded by like the Rock Bridge and the Rock House, it's not as fun. But for me, immersion gets a B plus. So even though Rockbridge State Nature Preserve doesn't get as much love and attention as some of the other places in Hocking County, it's still definitely worth checking out. Final grade is a B.
With apologies to Martha Wash.
Every Simpson dance now. Bump, 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 bump.